So that is how we invoke the presence of our ancestors. We lead by the drums. Good afternoon, good morning, worldwide viewers. Greetings, salutation. I'm Natisya Bohart Singh, and before we go into our very, very formal segment, I'll invite you to please stand for the playing of our national anthem. Please be seated. As I said earlier, welcome everyone. We will have the official welcome. My name is Natisya Bohart Singh, and I'm the founder of Children of the Ma'afo and the UN Human Rights Fellow for People of African Descent, Jamaica. And it is my pleasure to be here this afternoon to share in Jamaica's celebration of the International Day for People of African Descent. This International Day is a special day, and it has been celebrated all over the world today. We have the United Nations having a global conference on health for people of African descent and peoples of the world today. We have the UN, the Office of the High Commission, having webinars on the legacies of colonialism and the remnants of slavery and how we can go about getting reparative justice for our people, amongst other things. And we here in Jamaica at Liberty Hall, we are here out in our numbers celebrating. We are here, we have storytellers with us. You will see later. We have with us dance troops from Jamaican soil. You have with us UN fellows in the flesh here on Jamaican soil. We will hear presentations from our Minister of Culture herself, and she's gonna be with us also on the ground. And we have specially invited guests from the diaspora and from Jamaica who are participating in groundbreaking work for the people of African descent. Professor Vereen Shepherd, who is now the chair of the committee, the United Nations Committee on the Elimination for Racial Discrimination. And later on, you will hear from the former Vice President of Costa Rica, who is now sitting on the very important body of the UN Permanent Forum for People of African Descent, and how we can leave out a beauty queen them. We have also messages, and importantly, a message from our own Miss Tony Ann Layla, and she is the current United Nations, Miss United Nation, and she's a Jamaican. So we're UN full up today. And with Jamaican full up. And it's a global community, it's a global celebration. And so today, welcome. I am happy that you take the time out to come here today to share in this here at Liberty Hall. Let me just tell you, the partners are indeed Liberty Hall, the Marcus Garvey Project, the UNIA, and the Africa Community League. And we have the president here with us, Mr. Stephen Golding. We will hear from Ms. Anya, and of course, representing the freshly made organization dealing with issues of people of African descent, children of the Ma'afo. And of course, our home in all of this, the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, who is always on board events like these to lend their support so that we can push Brand Jamaica, but also to unearth and develop. And I must say, our partners also, the JCDC, CPTC, JIS, and all the other organizations that are here with us on the ground and to helping us make this event a success. Thank you all for coming. So without further ado, let me invite Miss Anya. Is it doctor? It is doctor. It's not gonna stop confuse me, but I love it. Cause Miss Anya Thompson, she is the executive director of Liberty Hall, where we're at today. Give her a big hand.
Thank you, Naticia. Very warm welcome. But let me give you a warm welcome to Liberty Hall, the legacy of Marcus Garvey. In 1987, the government of Jamaica, led by the Honorable Edward Seaga, in celebration of Garvey's birthday, decided to renovate Liberty Hall. Liberty Hall, actually in conjunction, with the Jamaica National Heritage Trust. They declared it a national monument and reopened it on October 20th, 2003. Jamaica's national hero, Marcus Garvey, our first national hero, is the Pan-Africanist that started our movement, our Black nationalist movement, early 1900s, right through till today. 1920, Marcus Garvey said that we needed an international day for African people. And here we are, 101 years later, celebrating that day. It had to take 100 years, but here we are. The primary mission of Liberty Hall is the legacy of Marcus Garvey, and it is to inform the public about the work of Jamaica's first national hero and to use his philosophy and opinions to inspire, excite, and positively affect the self-identity of the Jamaican people, whether it be socially or economically. Liberty Hall holds a very special place in my heart because we are a collection of Garveyites, from the Universal Negro Improvement Association to the Children of Ma'afa, and the other organizations that have come together to produce this event. Our Ministry of Culture, Entertainment, Gender, and Sports has been the executive producer of this event. However, I will say that all of the participants, CPTC, PBCJ, JIS, and all the other camera crew and production team, I want to say thank you as well to, for joining us in this really great endeavor. We're celebrating the International Day for People of African Descent. I can't imagine what it would be like if we had that day in every country for every year and we all actually had it as a paid holiday. That's the goal. So I want us to think about that while we celebrate. Yeah, as a matter of fact, join her, clap. I see, it is the goal. It is the goal. And I want us to actually say, I just want us to celebrate and to enjoy the activities, the live performances, the food, the drink, and of course the great, beautiful little women that are coming up soon. I would like to actually introduce them, or at least mention them. They are the Tivoli Dance Troupe I'm seeing back there, so I want to say welcome as well. But, and that dance troupe has been around for years, ladies and gentlemen, for years upon years. This must be the new crew. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Anyway, without further ado, please enjoy the event. Celebrate with us, and we look forward to a very, very lively afternoon.
Thank you so much, Anya. Thank you. And we're going to keep the program moving because it's excitement here today, as you've been told, and we don't want to delay the excitement. So we're going to be inviting at this time, in her capacity, I'm introducing her in her capacity, and then for her to bring greeting on behalf of the ACIJ and the Jamaica Memory Bank. Please help me welcome Ms. Joanne Archibald. She's the Principal Director of Culture. Let me say that again. She is the Principal Director of Culture in the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. She will be bringing greeting on behalf of the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, ACIJ, and the Jamaica Memory Bank. Put your hands together and make welcome Ms. Archibald.
Come again. Madam Moderator, Board and Management of the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, Jamaica Memory Bank, and Liberty Hall. All right. I wasn't trying to let everybody know how short I was. Sure. But here we go. And I hope I don't have to start again, but suffice it to say that we're wanting to welcome all board and management of the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, the Jamaica Memory Bank, and Liberty Hall, as well as the UNIA, ACL, Children of the Mahafa, and all partners of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, focused always on celebration and repair. Distinguished guests, presenters, global family, all. On behalf of our chair, who is unavoidably absent this afternoon, I greet you well and deliver his remarks. We're very privileged to greet you officially on this occasion. On behalf of the ACIJ, Jamaica Memory Bank, and Liberty Hall, we want to welcome at this time especially to our global family celebrating with us. The International Day for People of African Descent is one of the newest declarations of the United Nations, and indeed, our celebration today, August 31, is just the second annual commemoration. This day is important, not only because of its recognition of the contributions of the African diaspora, but also because it's a call to us to increase our confidence and to do more and achieve more. One of the UN's stated aims in declaring this day is the elimination of all forms of discrimination against people of African descent. This aligns in important ways with the purpose and mission of the ACIJ, which is now in its 49th year of existence. The Cabinet's submission of 1973 that led to the creation of the ACIJ stated, among other things, that it should promote and foster the artistic and cultural achievement of people of African descent so that our children might have a knowledge and an appreciation of the strengths and virtues of African art and culture, which form an organic part of their heritage. The ACIJ continues to pursue this mission. The hosting of this special ceremony here at Liberty Hall is also entirely appropriate. It was just over a century ago, as we just heard, that our first national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Garvey, led the process that resulted in the Declaration of Rights of the Negro peoples of the world on this very day. The Declaration must have seemed to some at the time to be brazenly ambitious, but the UN Declaration now reveals to us in the present day that it and Marcus Garvey were simply ahead of their time. This is indeed the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. On behalf of the Board of Liberty Hall and ACIJ, I endorse this critical event and reaffirm our commitment to promoting the African presence in Jamaica. I thank you.
We're going to have to learn to start to clap so that Farin can hear. Will you hear? Thank you. Please let them know that we're here at Liberty Hall. All right, thank you so much, Miss Archibald. We're keeping the program going. I am pleased to introduce Mr. Omal. Is Major Bless? Maja Bless. Maja is major. Mr. Them have lyrics, you see? Maja. So Maja is major. Major Bless, Maja Bless writes. He's a dub poet. But let me tell you a little something. Omar is backed up today by some celebrities. I mean, I tell you, we should have charged him to come in here today. Stage show. So Omar is going to be coming up now, but I want to especially welcome the lead. And Omar, the walk up, right? Start making a way. Because, yes, man. So we have Ngozi, right? And let me tell you about little Ngozi. Let me tell you, we bring out our best today, you know. You can't blame us. It's the International Day for People of African Descent. What did you expect? So we have little Ngozi. She's 9 years old, and let me tell you, she's the first child to go into Parliament. Did you know that? To speak in Parliament. Where's Ngozi? What you know? You see, star, because Ngozi wanted her to finish her introduction for her to walk up, right? So she's the first child to address Parliament. It's a big deal. Clap her, man, clap her. And then, of course, we have with us Tisha. I know how it is for people to pronounce my name wrong, innit? You know what my name is? Leticia, I can't even call the last part. So Tisha, I'm getting your name right. Tisha is Star. You know that your name is Star already. And Tisha is 14 years old. And let me tell you a little secret about Tisha. Tisha has already done a song. You know that song? I can't call it title. Can I call it title in the Jamaican? Let me call it in English. It's called Dirty Man with Romain Virgo. Yes, a big song. So I'm saying we have some youngsters here with us. We have some our elders here with us. We have somebody in between here with us, and it's a good day. And I'm saying put your hands together and welcome our youths along with Mr. Omal, and they're gonna just take it away for us.
Africa, we want to go. Africa, we want to go. Come home, my black brother. Come home, my black sister. Africa, we want to go.
Sing a song for Marcus. For Marcus, we sing a song. We stood for a people. A people did you wrong. Starliner, Starliner, how black are thy ships? I'm waiting by the harbor, still waiting for my trip. Head slave, house slaves, get up off your bums. Philosophies and opinions should be taught in the curriculum. Bleaching out your color, hiding from yourselves. Neprezone and metasol can hardly stay up on the shelf. Migrating to America. Everybody wants to be an American. The other day I heard Black Erica said, I'm no blasted African. She said, you go back to Africa, Maja. You are an insane guy. Where people starving of hunger and them mouth full of fly. She said, back to Africa, Maja. You are an insane guy with your Marcus Garvey, your Steve Biko, and your Rastafari. She said, I married to a US citizen. So I is young K. She said, I not going to Africa where people eating donkey. And on that day, before Erica departed, she says African lay with monkey. And that's how the whole AIDS thing started. So Liberty, let us sing a song for Marcus. For Marcus we sing a song who stood for our people. A people did you wrong. Starliner, Starliner, how black are thy ships? I'm waiting by the harbor, still waiting for my trip.
Africa, we want to go. Africa, we want to go. Come
Every black
home,
girl
my
can
black
win.
brother. Come home,
Every
my
black
black
boy is a
sister.
king.
Africa,
Your skin is
we
not a sin.
want to go.
Love the skin that you're in. Give thanks. Big up to Shea Star. So you see, today we are in the presence of greatness. Because I look around and see all the great individuals, you know. And we are big up some great persons today. Run it. So from one great man to our next great one, you know. And this is called Marley Medley. From Trenchtown Rock, in his little shack, he placed Jamaica on the map with reggae on top. If you're feeling irie, let me hear you say irie. Yes, irie vibration, you know. Yeah, man, so we big up the greats today. The Honorable great was the man born in St. Anne, who rose out of the sun to free the land of their mental sufferation and frustration from the intellectual pendragons who outlawed and discriminated his songs. We spoke of righteousness and no wrongs. His songs to us now is like a prayer that burns like fire, elevating us higher. So we cherish from the parish of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the Honorable Robert Nestor, the man who sat down in Trenchtown with some righteous wrath. And him said, take your gun, take your cutlass. Me not in on the war. Just give me a guitar, make me reach far. Liberty all, let us heal our reggae superstar. What do you know about Marley songs? I'm going to test you now. Check it out. It was a natural mystic when 3 little birds pitched by my doorstep, singing redemption songs. They said, people, get ready for the Exodus, movement of your people. Get up, stand up, fight for your rights and put the Eden back against the wall. Because I don't want to wait in vain for the Buffalo soldiers to stir it up. So I shot the sheriff after the old pirates and rabbi in an ambush in there. But I was only jamming in the name of the Lord. But guiltiness rests upon their conscience, because of them make everywhere is. But I just one love, one heart. Even there's so much things to say like, is this? Could you be? Chances are some might not hold on, but no woman no cry. Just turn your lights down low and satisfy my soul, and I will hold on like an iron lion in. And the legend lives on. And cause it right, come show. Pull it up. Alright, so we want to close it this one with a lovely and goes it right. Touch now.
If you love Jamaica, put up on your hand. If you love Jamaica, put up on your hand. Jam tongue, baby. Jam tongue, baby. And we are the future generation. Jam tongue, baby. Jam tongue, baby. And we are the future for the nation.
Talk to them.
I rise from Kingston City, nurtured on Kingston City, fed by elders' wisdom, soon come run this kingdom. Who knew that we would be greater? And that a female would lead Jamaica. With all the falls who celebrate the strength, Jamaica with 60 independent. Jam must reign supreme. One love, one heart, united in a dream, working together as a team. Scientists claim it's a mystery, fastest human in a history. If a reggae music car blazing the track, salute the green, the gold and the black. If a reggae music car blazing the track, salute the green, the gold and the black. Jump down, baby, jump down, baby. And we are the future for the nation. Jump down, baby, jump down, baby. And we are the future for the nation.
Give thanks, give thanks.
I am so pleased, like a Mr. Puss. Put your hands together and let me hear it for Mal Right. And Tish and Jam Dong, baby. Woo! Thank you so much. I am so happy that we have a mixture of our youths today. The youths, our future, we can't leave them out. And we understand the assignment. That's it. We understand the assignment. We are unearthing talent. And for you, yes, the future. Big up yourself. And we're moving from 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars to another star. We talked about Queen later, earlier in the show, and we are going to now bring the message from our own Tony Ann Layla. We have another Tony Ann, by the way. She is Miss World. Miss Jamaica World. We can't keep up, you know, we have a lot of Miss and Misters. The longest reigning Miss World. So put your hands together for Tony Ann Sing. And then we're moving into now Miss Tony Ann Layla. Get it right. She is Miss Jamaica United Nations World. So let me just tell you a little bit about our Tony Ann, because she is Miss United Nations, and she's from Jamaica. She won the overall title. Yes, so she's now traveling across the world representing Jamaica, but you know, this is a very important event, and so she had to add her voice to the chorus, and I hope you understand how I'm talking, because this is important when persons can stop on the road and say, listen, I have to send home a message to my people, right? So let me tell you about Tony Ann a little bit. So Tony Ann is a past student of the Edna Manley College. I'm looking at Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks in the front, all smiles. Yes, the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, in pursuit of her dream to become a world-renowned actress. So look out on the screen. You may be seeing her soon. Yes, she pursued that, and Layla received the Prime Minister's Youth Award in 2019 in the category of youth development for her work as the founder of the REACH program. Now, the program is aimed at empowering, uplifting, and inspiring confidence and broadening the horizons of the young people of this country. So very fitting following that performance. Please make welcome Tony Ann Layla.
2022, and it is my honor to be a part of Jamaica's global celebration of the UN declared International Day for the People of African Descent. Proudly, I share my story with hope of inspiring children, youth, and people everywhere. I speak particularly to the children of Africa and its diaspora. Your voice matters, and it will shape the world into one. I am a proud farmer. I've been farming for over 10 years. From a small amount of land, I fed myself and I financed my education. Today, I feed my nation. Through my Global Work Foundation, Tony Ann Layla's Foundation, through Performing Arts, Pen Pal Exchange, and my agricultural mentorship program. I seek alignment with the sage pronouncement of the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey. God and nature first made us who we are, and then out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves who we want to be. I close by sending my fellow Jamaicans and people of our world the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley's gift of one love, the song of the 20th century and the anthem of our hearts.
And from one traveling star born in Jamaica to the next, we are now going to be hearing from our own Professor Vereen Shepherd, who sends message from Geneva. Yes, she will be bringing greetings, talking to us more about what this day is and what it means for our people. Let me just tell you a little about Vereen Shepherd. I mean, all of us grew up on Vereen Shepherd. Let us just be clear, we read all the books, we know Prof. Shepherd, and now she's serving in another capacity aimed at, just reach an impact for the world. We're so proud of her. So put your hands together as I introduce Professor Vereen Shepherd. She is an honorary fellow of Jesus College, University of Cambridge, and Professor Emerita of Social History at the University of the West Indies. She's also a former member of the UN Working Group of Experts for People of African Descent, and this is important because she oversaw the drafting of the program of activities for the International Decade for People of African Descent. This is the decade that we're now in. This is the decade leading from what we call the Durban Declaration that then aided in us having this International Day, and the decade, of course, which aided in the Permanent Forum for People of African Descent. So it's big work. And of course, we know that Professor Shepherd is integral in reparation and reparation activity, and she's the head of the Center for Reparation Research, and of course, gender issues. I mean, we merge all the issues. She is the past director of the Institute of Gender and Development. Please make welcome Professor Vereen Shepherd.
Now, I want us to recognize that Jamaicans played a very important role, not only in selecting the day, August 31, but in creating or helping to advance the adoption of the International Decade for People of African Descent. Because the International Day is really part of that whole process of implementing the decade. The Universal Negro Improvement Association held its first international convention of the Negro peoples of the world at Madison Square Gardens and scheduled a massive parade in Harlem. So let's focus on the fact that during this convention on August 31, the Universal Negro Improvement Association adopted and signed a Declaration of Rights of the Negro peoples of the world. They adopted a nation flag with the colors of the red, black, and green, and elected officials for its provisional government. And Garvey himself was elected provisional president of Africa. Think about that. Now, many people have asked, what is the role of the Permanent Forum? And in fact, the role of CERD, the Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. And I suppose that question is asked because the view is that there are Caribbean women who are at the forefront of these global developments. But let me step back a little bit to give you a little background. So on the 2nd of August, 2021, the General Assembly adopted Resolution 75/314, which formally operationalized the Permanent Forum of People of African Descent as, and I quote, a consultative mechanism for people of African descent and other relevant stakeholders, and as a platform for improving the safety and quality of life and livelihoods of people of African descent. This Permanent Forum is an advisory body to the Human Rights Council, so it's very important. And it's in line with the program of activities for the implementation of the International Decade for People of African Descent. and it works in close collaboration and coordination with existing mechanisms. Costa Rica, and in particular the former Vice President, Ms. Epsie Campbell-Barr, who you have heard me talk about before, who has Jamaican roots and who also lobbied for the International Day for People of African Descent, is a member of the forum, as are two other women of our region. In fact, two Caribbean women, Ambassador June Suma of St. Lucia and Gaynell Curry of the Bahamas. So it is great that Caribbean women will play such a central role to contribute to the full political, economic, and social inclusion of people of African descent in the societies in which they live as equal citizens without discrimination of any kind, and contribute to ensuring equal enjoyment of all human rights. Overall, then, Jamaica should be proud. They should take pride in the recognition of the International Decade for People of African Descent, first of all, because Caribbean people played a role in drawing up the program of activities and in actually lobbying to get it adopted by the UN. The choice of August 31 was in association with the activism of our own Marcus Bonzaya Garvey. So I think Jamaicans should be proud, because that should make us smile. The role, the fact that Marcus Garvey and his activities in New York and his global activities, in fact, his Pan-Africanism, his struggle for the rights of people of African descent, all of that went into the choice of the day. So yes, the International Decade for People of African Descent and the International Day for People of African Descent was because of its association with the activism of our own Marcus Bonzaya Garvey. So yes, that alone should make us smile.
Right, I'm smiling. We lick about with Talawa. We can claim little after a while though. When you have the fastest man, fastest woman, all of these people, we're really still harping on the little part. We have to coin something else. I'm going to send out a project for us to coin something else. Talawa can stay, but the little part, it kind of iffy right now, don't you think? Welcome, Ms. Hannah. Welcome to the, we're looking forward to hearing from you. We were calling out performers and speakers this morning. So yes, looking forward. Also want to say thank you and welcome and appreciation to the Nigerian High Commission for your contribution to today. We're going to be enjoying some lovely food courtesy of the High Commission later on. That is going to be my favorite part. Well, all the parts are going to be good, but looking forward. And I want to extend warm welcome to, I don't want to spoil a name, you know, we try not to spoil nobody's name today. So here what now? Antonia Akune. Clap me. Clap me. I did well. Welcome and thank you so much for the support. You know, we can always count on our partners when we have events. South African High Commission also and the Nigerian, they're always with us. So put your hands together for them. And while we're putting hands together, because listen to me, we are producers, all the things we are today for this event, you notice we're having performance, we're having food, we're having docu-video, we have executive producers, ministry. We're very talented people, so I'm going to welcome now on stage a producer in his own right, media practitioner, Garvey Hyde, head of the UNIA president, Stephen Golding, to do his bit in introducing the docu-film. Yes, man, we're filming, we're doing things. Introducing the docu-film. Put your hands together for Mr. Golden.
Thank you, Naticia. Afternoon, everyone. Today is the International Day for People of African Descent. If you're taking pictures, I have to tell you, you got to push the hashtag IDPAD, IDPAD, hashtag 831. That's for August 31st. And before I do the introduction, you know, Africa's history is based on matriarchy, you know? We like to use the lion as our symbol, but if you like to watch the National Geographic videos like me, you realize that the lion is not the real power in the pride. In fact, the pride is based on the lionesses who stay in the pride throughout their entire life, while the lions have to move around. That being said, let me recognize my mothers who are here, because this is a day of realizing our Africanness. Former Senator Barbara Blake Hanna, Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks, who is our storyteller, our griot today, and Africa's history has always been kept alive and protected and passed on by the storytellers and the griots. So that being said, you're about to see well, it's about 20 minutes long, so let me not say a short video, but a short film about this day, this one day that was 100 years in the making. And I'm talking about the fact, as you'll hear others reference, that in 1920, at the first International Convention of the UNIA, and as Article 53 of the Declaration of the Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World, August 31st was declared an international holiday for our race. When Garvey chaired that meeting, it was written as an international holiday for the Negro race. 100 years later, the United Nations declared it as an international day for people of African descent. So we're talking about 100 years in the making. But before I start the video, this is the day from now on that a lot of people will begin to speak about the Declaration of the Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World, as you will see in many of the videos. That is a phenomenal document, and if you're not familiar with it, you need to get a copy of the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. iNation is outside. You can probably get one from him. It is one of the greatest documents produced by the Garvey movement, if not, probably second to African fundamentalism that you heard Miss United Nations quoting from. But it represented perhaps some of Garvey's greatest work as a statesman and a political leader. It had 54 articles in it. This was article number 53, and it took 100 years for the world at large to recognize it. But there were other articles in that document that, especially as Jamaicans, we need to familiarize ourselves with. And this is not the first article that Garvey conquered the world and brought them to heal and to yield to these demands. The first one was Article 11, which states that we deprecate the use of the word nigger and declare that the word Negro should be written with a capital N. Marcus Garvey was the first person who started doing that. Declaration, Article number 11, 1920, and it took 10 years before the New York Times and the dictionaries of the day yielded to that and began writing the word Negro with a capital N. But there are other articles in there too that we need to remind the world about, especially under this new discussions around reparation. There's an article that speaks to the freedom for black people to travel around the world unmolested. And molestation don't just mean physical molestation. When you can't travel to a certain place because you are required to have a visa, but they are not required to have a visa to travel, that's discrimination. He spoke to that. He demanded that Negro history be taught to Negro children, and that the teaching that other races are superior to the black race be eliminated and abolished. Really, take a look at this document, the Declaration of Rights of the Negro People of the World. Yes, this is great that we're celebrating the holiday and we got this article. This is 53, but we have about 50 others that we need to work on, right? And as you will hear, the red, black, and green, the anthem, all those things were contained in that document. But what you're about to see now is the story of how Garvey's influence stretched through a century to finally be recognized by the United Nations body last year. So please enjoy.
For the first time in our history here, you find we have a tendency to want to come together. For the first time, we have a tendency to want to work together. And up till now, no organization on the American continent has tried to unite you and me with our brothers and sisters back home. At no time, none of them. Marcus Garvey did it, they put him in jail. They framed him, the government framed him, they put him in jail. Marcus Garvey tried.
A first step to tackle discrimination is to listen to the experiences of those who have been marginalized.
We believe and we hope that this meeting will allow us to share experiences and best practices to see where we can learn from each other in our attempts to do better.
The definition of racial discrimination in that convention, which talks about racism on purpose or in effect, I think is very relevant for your discussions.
Recognition is reparation, recognition is reconciliation, and recognition is healing.
We encourage states who have not celebrated the launch of the International Decade to do so as part of educating their populations and bringing awareness on the importance of the International Decade.
The first commemoration of the International Day for Persons of African Descent. Today is a day to reaffirm that the abolition of slavery did not end stigmatization and differential treatment and exclusion of persons of African descent.
Greetings. I'd like to speak with you about the history and significance of the August 31st International Day of our race. Established August 1920, during the first International Convention of the Negro Peoples of the World, convened by the Right Excellent Marcus Garvey. The holiday was adopted to celebrate the successful ratification of the Declaration of the Rights of Negro Peoples of the World, a declaration of independence that openly expressed the nationalistic aspirations of our race and intention to control our own destiny. The red, black, and green flag and its anthem were also adopted at this convention that marked the first time the Negroes of the world, represented through 25,000 delegates from 40 countries, ever formed a plebiscite to establish a provisional government and elect a representative to champion our rights and petition the nations of the world to respect them.
Now I turn to the question of whether Marcus Garvey and the UNIA and the Declaration of 1920 New York, the Declaration of the Rights of Negro Peoples of the World, had any bearing on the creation and designation of August 31. And my answer is absolutely yes. Last year, the General Assembly of the United Nations declared August 31 as the International Day for People of African Descent. It was actually created by the United Nations to celebrate the diverse heritage and contributions of people of African descent. August 31 was thought to be a fitting day because it was in August 31, 1920, that the rights of people of African descent was adopted in New York. So it is very important to mark this day. And in view of the fact that I was chair of the working group of experts on people of African descent, when the program of activities for the IDPAD was drafted, I did play a role, however marginal, in this day, in the declaration of this day. But others played a more important role in actually getting the day, August 31, adopted and declared. In fact, when the day was declared and adopted last year in the General Assembly, it was under the initiative of Costa Rican former Vice President Epsie Bar Campbell, or Epsie Campbell Bar.
The time has come to inspire the people. The time has come to open the doors that defeat fear, to grow, to create more participation by the people.
Her name is Epsie Campbell, and she's one of nearly 75,000 black African descendants living in the Central American country of Costa Rica.
I'm part of a group who have to work centuries to be recognized as a human. I'm part of a group who fight a lot to develop their country, and the country denied them.
This denial, she says, is one reason she's taking a major step, seeking her party's nomination to run for president of the country.
My voice is not only my voice, it's the voice of the people that don't have any opportunity. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the life of millions of people who need people like me in the first line.
And helping in the struggle are people like Laura Wilson, a former housewife who's now using her position as a local municipal leader to teach children about their Afro identity and to speak to the government about their needs.
What we have to do is get together, go to our people, go to our communities. We have to call the government, we have to sit them down. We have to sit down with each political party on the table. And that's what we have to do. We have to get aggressive.
We are facing a change in this country. We are working for a new society. This is the reason of my fight, and this is the reason of my life.
Why she became the first woman vice president in Latin America, she had a leadership in the party that she belonged to, and that leadership in the country, that she made it and was postulated to be vice president, and that group went out. So it was a great thing for us, because I feel that we as a black community in Costa Rica felt very good about our nomination and our election. It was good to have that experience and to the recognition of black people here in Costa Rica.
Hola, soy Epsie Campbell, vicepresidenta de Costa Rica. Como Gobierno de Costa Rica presentamos ante la Asamblea General de las Naciones Unidas un proyecto de resolución para proclamar el 31 de agosto como el Día Internacional de los Pueblos Afrodescendientes, una fecha que nos permitirá reconocer los extraordinarios aportes e incansables luchas por construir sociedades inclusivas y justas. Las negociaciones lideradas por la Misión Permanente de Costa Rica ante las Naciones Unidas en Nueva York han sido exitosas y han logrado sumar a países como copatrocinadores, convirtiéndose muy pronto este compromiso en una realidad que contribuirá con el reconocimiento de millones de afrodescendientes en todo el mundo. Costa Rica es parte de una larga historia. Hoy tomamos la estafeta junto a otros países para conmemorar los aportes de millones de personas afrodescendientes. Es una acción para el futuro y un tributo para líderes del pasado, porque hace exactamente 100 años se celebró en la ciudad de Nueva York, donde hoy precisamente tiene sede las Naciones Unidas, la primera Convención Internacional de los Pueblos Negros del mundo. Las extraordinarias discusiones, lideradas por Marcus Garvey, hoy héroe nacional de Jamaica y uno de los primeros panafricanistas, con miles de delegados de diferentes países, terminaron en la adopción de la Declaración de los Derechos de los Pueblos Negros del mundo, que estableció en su artículo 53 la proclamación del 31 de agosto de cada año como Día Internacional de los Pueblos Negros, fecha que por fin adoptaremos como un compromiso con la agenda de los pueblos afrodescendientes en la mitad del decenio. Esta fue una de las declaraciones de derechos humanos más notables del siglo XX, que hizo explícitos los derechos a la justicia racial, la igualdad ante la ley, el derecho a la autodeterminación, la libertad de prensa, la libertad de culto religioso, el derecho a una educación ilimitada y sin prejuicios para nosotros y una prosperidad para siempre, así como el derecho a la paz, antes de la Declaración Universal de los Derechos Humanos.
The UNIA, the branch 300 here in Limón, Costa Rica, have been always celebrating the 31st of August from the declaration stated it, I declare it, decreed that the 31st of August should be an holiday for all Negro in the world. Here, as I mentioned before, Marcus Garvey has a strong position here in Limón, so through that we have been keeping and setting up this 31st of August to be a big celebration for Limón, and through the Liberty Hall we have in Limón, it has been the one who always kept this activity, so it will get stronger and stronger every day, and now it's much stronger than before. We have been looking in Costa Rica about the 31st of August. That have, let us say, has moved on, because nationally they would have decreed that from 1980 that in Costa Rica celebrate Negroes Day. Then we come up with a law in 9526 that says that from the 1st of August until the 31st of August will be the celebration of Negroes Day in Costa Rica. You see, we have the legislators in the Congress have stepped up to recognize the support and the support that we have done in Costa Rica, and that's why we have the celebration that it even passed forward, that our Vice President took it to the United Nations to approve it, but I still feel they don't do it, and the UNIA did it in 1920. They said it's an holiday to observe by all Negroes in the world, and we need to have it as an holiday paid by the government in each country, especially in Costa Rica.
International Day celebrations, in any case, invite governments, civil society, the public, and the private sectors, schools and universities, and generally citizens of the world to reflect on values that unite humanity and to take concrete actions to advance them. In proclaiming August 31 as the International Day for People of African Descent, the international community is recognizing that people of African descent represent a distinct group whose human rights must be promoted and protected.
One of the most significant and distinguished accomplishments of Marcus Garvey and the Universal Negro Improvement Association, and one that is often underscored, is the fact that Garvey elevated the issues that confronted the black race at his time, during his time, from a civil rights issue to a human rights issue. And he did this by pursuing the international body that became the United Nations, but started out as the League of Nations, relentlessly between the years of 1919 and 1945. The UNIA sent several delegations to the League of Nations. The first led by Eliezer Kadea, Haitian, in 1919. A second delegation, which included Jean-John Adams, another Haitian, in 1922. Garvey himself traveled to Geneva, Switzerland in 1928, where he himself presented the petition in person to the Secretary General of the League of Nations at the time, Sir Eric Drummond.
The year was 1920, and World War I was coming to an end. Many countries were sick of fighting and wanted there to be lasting peace worldwide. If all of these countries agreed on the same thing, it might be a good idea to form a group or club, right? This is when the League of Nations was born. The League of Nations included 63 countries from every continent in the world joined together to promote peace. They had a goal of settling disagreements through meetings instead of wars. Their covenant stated their goal was preventing wars through collective security and disarmament and settling international disputes through negotiation and arbitration. The League of Nations also had a goal of improving civil rights around the world, like labor conditions, human trafficking, treatment of native inhabitants, prisoners of war, and global health. The League was a way of checking up on one another and making sure people around the world had a better quality of life. The League of Nations would also mediate talks about territorial disputes. Often countries couldn't agree on where their borders were and what areas of land they owned, especially islands. The League of Nations worked to settle these disputes peacefully. The League of Nations lasted until 1946. At this point, it disbanded and the United Nations was formed, which still exists today.
As soon as the League of Nations is formed, Garvey challenges their commitment to real and lasting world peace by confronting them with the plight of people of African descent in the world at that time. His petition spoke to the rights of people of African descent to self-determination, to the decolonization of Africa, to the economic and industrial advancement of Africa, as well as equal opportunities and rights when it came to education and travel for people of African descent. He even condemned the emergence of apartheid laws in South Africa, which had begun 6 years prior. Garvey's petition threatens to expose the violation of the human rights of people of African descent internationally, and it causes a panic. The United States Bureau of Investigation puts him on their radar, and the League of Nations refuses to receive his representative in the person of Eliezer Kadea. They give the excuse that the UNIA does not constitute a nation state. In response, Garvey gives them a final warning about legislating world policy without consulting the millions of persons of color and of African descent in the world. And when the European press refuses to publish the petition and these international concerns, Garvey calls for an international convention of his own in 1920, at which he makes a declaration of rights for the people of African descent. One of the articles declares the League of Nations null and void.
Following this convention, with the backing of 400 million Negroes, Marcus Garvey began to address the intergovernmental bodies, like the International Conference on Naval Limitation in 1921, where he warned the conferees about, quote, the awful mistake of legislating for the disposition of other people's land, especially Africa, without taking them into consideration. He reminded them that there can be no peace without an inclusion in that peace of the freedom and liberty of 400 million Negroes of the world. In 1922, the UNIA dispatched a delegation to the League of Nations General Assembly, petitioning the body to cede the former German colonies in Africa to our provisional government. This delegation became the first black non-state member delegation to be seated and heard before the assembly. By 1928, Mr. Garvey personally visited the League of Nations, continuing his advocacy for African self-determination and respect for our human rights internationally. At the 1945 founding convention of the United Nations in San Francisco, the Honorable UNIA International Organizer, William Levan Sherrill, attended and delivered a renewal of the original UNIA petition, while the Honorable Amy Jakes Garvey forwarded her memorandum correlative of Africa, the West Indies, and the Americas to the same. As the fight for self-determination for Africans at home and abroad raged on, and African nations began winning their independence, succeeding generations continued to wave the red, black, and green flag and celebrate the August 31st International Day for our race. Last year, the United Nations officially recognized this observance and formally declared August 31st International Day for People of African Descent, a day to promote the extraordinary contributions of the Africans at home and abroad, to celebrate our heritage, and condemn racism in all its forms.
Greetings, my name is Natisia Bohart-Singh and I am a member of the 2020 cohort of the United Nations Fellowship Program for People of African Descent. And today, I join with my home country, Jamaica, and the global family to celebrate this International Day for People of African Descent. As a student of law, history, and culture, it would be remiss of me to not highlight the ancestral alignments that have brought us to this space. This day, August 31st, also coincides with the first International Convention of the Negro Peoples of the World, and as a result of the discussions led by Jamaica's first national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Messiah Garvey, the Declarations of the Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World was promulgated on August 31st, 1920. Today, I applaud the United Nations for finally proclaiming 31st August as the International Day for People of African Descent in order to further promote greater respect and recognition for the diverse heritage, culture, and contribution of the people of African descent to the development of societies, and to promote greater respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms for our people. Yes, we are a nation of actors, actresses, producers, Miss Worlds, fastest man, fastest woman, storytellers. What may I tell you with Talawa? Before, find a word before Talawa, with Talawa. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. I know the work that went into the production of that docu-film for this day. I want to say big up to UNIA President, Mr. Stephen Golding, UNIA Jamaica. Want to give credit to the children of the Ma'afa also for coming on board on this docu-film. It was a lot of work. Stephen, you have to big up the director and the, what you call him now? Give me the word. Exactly, big him up, man. Yes. Well, big him up, big him up. You see the collaborative work between the young, that's what I've been saying, and that's what today is about, you know, making sure that we prepare the next generation for the work ahead. And the work that we're doing on the island, I must say, and I was introduced in the video as a United Nations Fellow for People of African Descent, and it's a platform that I'm honored to have and to take part in this decade because the work is extensive. Some of the things I know, like the issues that some of my colleagues are facing in Brazil, in Costa Rica, in America as we speak, you know, in Canada, where we know that the black as an ethnic group or race is still a struggle for them to recognize a lot of stuff, and we've had webinars on that. So I'm saying the work of the decade is about this. but it's also about the fight against racism. It's also about the recognition, the 3 pillars of the international decade, which is the recognition, the justice element, and the development of our people. And this today is a part of enhancing and expanding on that work. So again, let me hear it for the hard work of the producers, and lend credit. Let me lend credit also to some of the persons who took the time out to send in their videos ahead of time. Mr. Winston Norman, who is the Universal Negro Improvement Association African Communities League. He is the organizer, or he is the Costa Rica's president. So he was in the video, you saw that, so put your hands together for him. He took the time to do his part, send this video ahead of time. You know, it's a lot of work went in just to get those. Also is Wariyama. Wariyama Kamu is the Universal Negro Improvement Association African Communities League international organizer. You saw him there sending his message also. As I said, they send it in ahead of time so we could edit and put together, so that was good. Mr. Stephen Golding also producer but also speaker. And Miss Naticia Buhard Singh, you know, that lady there, I don't know why she's enough. All right, thank you so much. And we're going to now extend on the conversation and welcome Miss Epsi Campbell-Barr, because you heard a lot of mention about her role. Professor Shepard mentioned her, also the role that she had. I mean, Costa Rica had a big celebration last year. Let me just tell you about it. Kickoff. I know Jamaica having a big celebration this year. And as someone said earlier, we hope this is going to be an international day each year, and we're going to have bank holiday, as them call it, in Jamaica, where we just celebrate this day as a people. We don't have to worry to go to work and those things, right? So we're hoping, hint, hint. So I'm going to now introduce to you Miss Epsi Campbell-Barr. Miss Epsi Campbell-Barr, as you know, we've been talking about Her Excellency Epsi Campbell-Barr, Jamaican descent, former Vice President of Costa Rica and Minister of Foreign Affairs. She now sits on the Permanent Forum for People of African Descent. She was twice a congressional representative in the Legislative Assembly of Costa Rica. She's an Afrofeminist and human rights and environment activist. She's also the founder of the Center for Afro-Descendant Women and Afro-Descent Institute for Study, Research, and Development, as well as the Black Parliament of the Americas. She's a researcher with dozens of publications on democracy, inclusion, women's rights, and the list goes on. Put your hands together and make welcome. She took time out to make this video to send to Jamaica so that she could be a part of this celebration. And of course, Jamaican descent, we're very proud of her work also. So put your hands together for Miss Epsi Campbell-Barr, Her Excellency.
On August 21st, 2022, we celebrate for the second time the International Day of People of African Descent, which was unanimously approved by the United Nations General Assembly in December 2020. This was a proposal promoted by the government of Costa Rica as an initiative promoted in my capacity as Vice President of my country, recognizing my historical responsibility as the first Afro-descendant Vice President of Latin America and as a descendant of Jamaica. The proposal originates from the obligation to follow up and fulfill a task begun in 1920 at the First Congress of Black People of the World, led by the national hero of Jamaica, Marcus Garvey, with the companion of Amy. The Congress of Black People of the World met in New York at the Madison Square Garden and brought together more than 25,000 people from different parts of the world. It approved the Declaration of the Black People of the World, the first international human rights tool that promote equality, respect, and rights, expressly including equality between women and men. It defined what from that date should be celebrated on August 21st of each year as the International Day of Black Peoples of the World. A flag was also established, known today as the Pan-African flag, with the colors black, red, and green, and symbols of the Black peoples of the world. 100 years later, the government of my country and its president, Carlos Alvarado Quesada, promoted in the context of the International Afro-Descendant Decade, August 21st as the International Day of People of African Descent. The commemoration of this day contributes to make visible the reality of people of African descent, their culture, their contribution, and the vindication of our rights. It is a tribute to those who in 1920 had the strength and the determination to mark a path of justice and development for Afro-descendant people. Thank you very much.
I know you are accustomed to hearing her in her Spanish, but she made an effort for us. I am so happy to have her a part of this. It's just a tremendous work that they're all doing on the international stage while we're here doing our part. It's a culmination of grand things, and we welcome you all to the movement if you're not already on board. It's our time, it's our decade. Our year was in 2011, but it's every day is our day, really. Right, so I want to move forward because we're putting a lot of things together. We have the docu-vid, we had some performances. If you're late, you missed that. And we're now going to welcome our own Mrs. Barbara Blake Hannah. Now we have some celebrities in the midst, I tell you. I'm so excited, you could see me. So Mrs. Blake Hannah is a Jamaican journalist, filmmaker, of course, former senator, cultural consultant. She's a current cultural liaison from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, and Entertainment and Sport. She has held jobs in public relations, community service, and media, and lectured at universities in the Caribbean, USA, and Europe, and of course played an integral role in the establishment of our National Council on Reparation, among other things. Please make esteemed welcome to Mrs. Barbara Blake Hannah. She'll be doing a reading from her text, and she will introduce her text and her work.
Blessings and love, good afternoon. Special greetings, Madam Chair, Sir President of the UNI Jamaica, distinguished guests here with us at Liberty Hall, and those watching online now and when this is taped. It's a real honor for me to be here today. It's a real honor for me to be part of the celebration of the day for African people, the day in which African people are recognized separately around the world. It's a great honor for me to be here speaking at Liberty Hall and to be speaking on the topic of Marcus Garvey. I'm receiving a phone call, but I think Ms. Archibald, you should really, Minister is calling, so see if you could speak with her and see what help you can give her. It was Marcus Garvey who first showed me the road to Rastafari in 1972, a few weeks after I returned to Jamaica, having decided to escape the racial prejudice I was enduring in England and attend an event at the Sheraton Kingston Hotel to hear a speech by Yvonne Goolagong, an Australian half-Aborigine girl who had just won Wimbledon. I didn't know that whatever admiration I then had for this great tennis player who had just made Black history. Oh, let me make my You know, technology doesn't always work as we want it to. Okay. I didn't know then that whatever admiration I had for this great tennis player who had just made Black history would pale by comparison with the eye-opening shock of hearing a frail 82-year-old woman speak in a commanding and excited voice about a true Black hero whose life and philosophy she demanded that we follow. She was Mrs. Amy Jakes Garvey, and the man she spoke of was her husband, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I'd never heard of him. Yes, in 1972 I hadn't heard of him. No, I've got to make this work properly. I've got to make it work, yes. Technology doesn't always work when you think it should. Let me try again. Okay. We're going to be okay now. Yes. She was Mrs. Amy Jakes Garvey, and the man she spoke of was her husband, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I'd never heard of Marcus Garvey before that day. My education in Black history had begun only a few years earlier in England, where racism had made me absorb all the Black is beautiful information then being spread by American activists of the Black Power movement. I knew about Martin and Malcolm and even Elijah Muhammad, but not Marcus. So it was electrifying for me to hear this small but fiery woman speak passionately about what Marcus Garvey stood for, the mental as well as physical liberation of the Black mind. This woman's words forced me to read the publication of Garvey's Philosophy and Opinions, where I found how beautifully they contributed to the information necessary for my full mental liberation from slavery. I did not know that she died shortly after that speech. Of course, in stepping onto the path of Garvey knowledge, I encountered Rastafari, the people who Garvey's words had inspired to not only seek to return to the African motherland from which their ancestors had been taken, but even more importantly, to see Black divinity in a crowned African emperor whose dynasty stretched back in ecclesiastical history to Solomon, the Queen of Sheba, David, and Jerusalem, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie, whose 130th birthday we celebrated last month, Rastafari. I thus set out in 1972 on the Rastafari pathway, seeking knowledge to add to my racial emancipation. I found the best interpretation of Garvey's teachings among the Rastafari elders, the true and most faithful keepers of Marcus Garvey's flame. In true Garveyite principle, Rastafari called Garvey the prophet who pointed Black people in the West to their African homeland. Rastafari were always the most visible and outspoken Jamaicans speaking about Garvey at celebrations and events, flying the black, red, and green banner of the UNIA next to the Ethiopian red, gold, and green. I found Garvey depicted in Rasta iconography along with Emperor Haile Selassie and Bobo Shanti priest Prince Emmanuel as the Holy Trinity. The relationship between Garvey and Rasta has not always been a smooth one. There was a time when the UNIA and Rastafari were not close, each side quoting Garvey's condemnation of Emperor Selassie for leaving Ethiopia, taking asylum in England, and seeking help there from the Italian invasion as reasons why they did not get along with the other group. Those days are far gone. As a dreadlocks professed Rastafari, Stephen Golding is now leader of the UNIA in Jamaica, bless him. Garvey has become respected by the middle classes and even more respected than ever by the Rastafari masses who always followed his teachings. As for those not of Garvey's race or mindset who are still uncomfortable about Garvey's sole focus on race, some even terming it black racism, the race pushes well out of the bag, thanks more to the gains of the US civil rights movement then and now against racism than the efforts by the UNIA at home and abroad. I'm certain that many Jamaicans still think it's dangerous to teach black people to take hold of their destiny based solely on their blackness. But their views are a minority that gets smaller as a new multi-ethnic generation grows up. The fight to teach Garvey in Jamaican schools as not just a figure in history, but sharing his black philosophy has not yet been won. It would clearly need a complete reset of the Jamaican system based on Garvey's teachings for that to be achieved. World history would begin in Egypt, not Greece. And instead of the Middle Ages, we would focus on Africa and the creation and underdevelopment of the Caribbean through the slave trade. Mathematics would be part of a science curriculum, including engineering, and the teaching of the arts and literature would be of practical, hands-on performances and written works, as Garvey did with his publications and events at Liberty Hall. Teaching of business management would begin at primary level, producing graduates with practical experience to provide Africa with trained development specialists in several fields, and providing the home nation with economic and trade alliances with other black nations and people. Potential Jamaican leaders often tiptoe around the matter of race with a capital R, pretending it is invisible when 99% of the crowd in Africa is African descended. An enlightened leadership could use Garvey as the captain to steer the ship of state into prosperous waters, with wise programs in which race becomes regarded as a quality of pride on which to restore a nation and people, instead of being regarded as a negative, despite all the hard work of Mr. Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Mrs. Amy Jakes Garvey inspired me to spread the words of Marcus Garvey so much that beginning in 1972, I made it a personal commitment to start writing articles about Garvey and his philosophy. Each year on his birthday, I would send a letter to the Gleaner editor, then Hector Winter, that would usually be that paper's only or main memorial. In 1981, while doing some voluntary PR service for the UNIA, I proposed to the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Dudley Thompson, that the ministry building on Knutsford Boulevard be renamed the Marcus Garvey Building. He accepted, and the name still stands on what is now the Courtly Hotel, New Kingston. In 1986, while serving as an independent opposition senator in the Jamaican Parliament, in my first debate, I proposed that the upcoming centenary of the birth of Honorable Marcus Garvey be celebrated as a national holiday. The government Senate, led then by then Minister of Culture, Honorable Olivia Grange, voted against the proposal, saying the country could not afford another national holiday, but granted instead a holiday in St. Anne, the parish of Garvey's birth. I was content to be recorded in history for having raised the matter. My favorite Garvey link of all was being put in charge of the activities surrounding the 1975 unveiling of Garvey's statue at the St. Anne Parish Library. Working at the time in the office of the Prime Minister as assistant to then Culture Minister Arnold Bertram, I monitored the arrival in Jamaica of the statue, its transportation to St. Anne, and the building of a cut stone pedestal and wall in front of the parish library. My special task was to find a way to cover the statue before the unveiling. So I got a dressmaker to add a stripe of red fabric to a huge Jamaican flag, used it to cover the statue, and then tied a rope around it in a special way to remove it in one tug. It was a sunny day and bright afternoon with music performed by Count Ozzy's mystic revelation of Rastafari, giving the gathered crowd the right vibrations. But as soon as the official ceremony began, Mr. Garvey decided to attend in the whirlwind and the storm, and a sudden and thunderous downpour swamped the event, with rain falling in buckets. As Prime Minister Manley and special guests crowded around the statue in the pouring rain, the flag drape became waterlogged. I stepped forward to help the PM find the rope tug. But even though I'd worked hard to make it all happen, my boss, the Minister of Culture, pushed me away from the statue when he saw that I was wearing a skirt of red, gold, and green. As the rain poured down, Manley tried and failed to find a way to pull the flag off the statue. I just stood under shelter and watched them all get soaking wet. Until someone finally just ripped the wet cloth off. There is no photographic record of that historic meeting. The downpour was so heavy that photographers could not raise their cameras, and the deluge prevented any photographs from capturing that moment in time. Read into that what you will, I could see Mr. Garvey in everything that happened. These have been some of the ways in which I've sought to pay tribute to the freeing of my mind through Mr. Garvey's philosophy and teachings. I think Mr. Garvey would be proud to meet me. I, of course, would be blessed. Thank you very much.
Wow. Put your hands together. Thank you so much, Mrs. Blake-Hanna, for those words, you know. We're doing a lot for culture, and we're doing a lot for history. And we should really, as Marcus Garvey say, that if we as the people, Black people, understand our greatness, we would never allow anyone to disrespect us. And I always say, let alone disrespecting ourselves. Yes, so we need to keep the spirit going. I feel so grateful to be in this space today, just to feed from the thoughts and the production. It's just awesome, and I'm sending out positive energy to our worldwide viewers. I mean, I know you're clued in, I know you're learning more about the day. Next year we'll think of other things to do with the day, but today we wanted you to hear the foundation. We wanted you to understand the role of our first national hero. We wanted also for you to understand that we are a talented people. And as the theme said, we are contributing, we're recognizing, we're honoring our people today. Put your hands together for the production. We also want to make a note that there is a pilot project. I was listening intently to Mrs. Blake-Hanna, and I want to add that, yes, we have lived to see the day that we now have a pilot project of Garvey education in schools, right? So it was announced in April of this year. So we are hearing the vision, and we are understanding that without vision, the people perish. And we're moving on something. So yes, good observation, because and I'm glad that you documented that so that we can then lead from there into where we are today. So one love and big up yourself, as we would say. Yes, we're going to be doing, yes, we have, as I said, talent to the house. We're welcoming right now the orator. Yes, a griot. What did Steve say earlier? Yes, so let me formally introduce her. Right, so we have with us, coming to do a special performance following the special performance of Mrs. Blake Hanno, we have Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks. Let me tell you a little something about Dr. Meeks, because, you know, we know her. She did such a great job at Civil the other day. I was in the rain 4 o'clock. Let me tell you, 4 o'clock, right? Dancing and singing and going on with things, entering competition and all these things. Your energy was so up, the people say you'd sell off. So we are glad to have her here today to share in this occasion. So Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks is an award-winning writer, actress, storyteller, and founding artistic director of Tukuma. I mean, never say N. Me said Tukuma. I am so cultured. Tukuma, yes, the Storytelling Foundation of Jamaica and founding director of Anansi Sound Splash, the International Storytelling Conference and Festival stage annually in Jamaica. She successfully petitioned for the proclamation of November 20 as National Storytelling Day, and it is highlight of the annual 8-legged festival. Dr. Blackwood Meeks weaves tales from the loom of her knowledge of the Caribbean. Her life as a teacher, communication specialist, political scientist, social and cultural policy research analyst turned farmer. Her stories cover a range of issues affecting gender, the environment, children, and the direction of human development. Lord, with Talawa. Put your hands together and welcome Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Greetings to the African family, those at home and those abroad. What an honor to be able to share in this occasion, honor and a privilege, and to recognize that if this thing takes as long as 100 years and we do it, there is nothing we cannot do. So I'd like to share 2 stories with you. The first one is called The People Could Fly. I should say can, I'm going to change the title. And the other one is The Wisdom Calabash. They say that people could fly. They say if you stop at a time in Africa, people knew magic and could fly. That they would lift first one foot and then the other just as easily, Stephen, as if you were climbing on a fence. Flap their great black wings against the dark blue sky and fly. But the people were captured. Did you know? They were taken in boats. Did you know that some of them had to leave their wings behind, not enough room on the boats? Did you know that some of them forgot how to fly when they could no longer smell the sweet smells of Africa? But some there were who kept their powers strong as rum in the burning sun, like old man Joe. And then there was Sarah, so tall and so beautiful, but so afraid. They say that one day as she worked in the sun, amidst the rum, the baby on her back started crying. Don't me baby, don't cry. Your mama gone a fountain. And the one who called himself overseer just said, you better keep that thing quiet. But that's no way to stop a hungry baby from crying, and the crying grew louder. And the one who called himself overseer went and got the one who called himself master, who got the one who called himself driver, who came with a whip across Sarah's back. And the crying grew louder. Mwah! And Sarah fell to the ground, and the crying grew louder. They say when old man Joe had seen enough, he just knelt down beside Sarah and whispered in her ear the magic word. Healing in the barnyard. We want some healing in the barnyard. If you want to hear something, you come and hear me that sing. We want some healing in the barnyard. And she said, now, Father? And he said, yes, daughter. And she rolled over and lifted first one foot and then the other just as easily as if you were climbing on a fence. And she was gone. They say the one who called himself overseer just said, I saw her do magic. And the one who called himself driver said, oh, it was just a trick of the light. But the one who called himself master took a note of old man Joe. And so the next day, when first one young man, and then the other, and then the other, fell amidst the rum in the burning sun, the one who called himself overseer got the one who called himself master, who got the one who called himself driver, who came with a whip, first across the back of one young man, and then the other, and then the other. And they fell in the sun amidst the rum. They say when old man Joe had seen enough, he knelt down and whispered, first in the ear of one young man, and then the other, and then the other, the magic word. If you want to hear something, you come and hear me that sing. We want some healing in the barnyard. And they rolled over. First one young man, and then the other, and then the other. Just as easily as if you were climbing on a fence, they flapped their great black wings against the dark blue sky, and they were gone. They say the one who called himself master just looked at old man Joe and said, seize him. They meant to kill old Joe. Don't you know? But old man Joe just threw his head back and let the magic work. Oh, he was gone. They say the people who had forgotten how to fly gathered around to watch. And some of them said, old man Joe, take us with you. But it was too late. Those of them who had forgotten how to fly would have to wait for a chance to run. Run, Nanny, run, Taki, run, Anacaona, run. If you hear the dogs barking, run. If you see the light, run. If you hear them calling your name, run. If you want a taste of freedom, never stop. They say old man Joe never stopped flying until he came to a place called freedom, where he saw first one young man and then the other, and there's Sarah and the baby. They say the people who had forgotten how to fly would sit around at nights and tell stories. And their favorite stories were about freedom and flying. And their children told their children, and their children told their children, and their children told me. And I guess I just told it to you. Which is why Great Spirit Nyankopong got up one day out of his big chair in heaven and walked to the edge of heaven and looked over and said, me not understand how them people here are going, so them are going like say, I know me, them make the world. For me not like how them are going, Sister Barbara. That's what Great Spirit said. So he decided that he would send them something, not just to save themselves, but to save the world. and him get a big calabash. And in that calabash, him put little science, little technology, engineering, art, mathematics, and him put whole heap of stories. Whole heap of stories about justice and recognition and development. And he called the God of wisdom. Him say, Anansi, I want you to take this calabash of wisdom down to earth and give it to my people so they can save the world. Well, you know, say Anansi altered the plan. Anansi say anything so precious you can't just give it away so. So him going to the river to contemplate what he must do with the calabash of wisdom. So him go down a river with the calabash. Him looking at the water. I love me choir. Him see one big sin thing, Him see one big tree. So Anansi take that to mean that he must find the most sacred tree to put the calabash of wisdom. Anansi go all around the world. Him go to South Africa, him see the baobab, him say, I know that. Him go to America, him see the sequoia, him say, I know that. Him go to Malaysia, him see the yellow merenti, him say, I know that. Anansi walk till him reach Jamaica. When him reach Jamaica, him see all kind of tree. Him see so much tree, him never know which one to choose, but eventually, him choose the bloomer. What a magical tree. And Anansi tie on the calabash pan him belly man. And him a climb up the tree now, figure hide the calabash of wisdom. And the calabash a beat pan the tree trunk. And the calabash a sing out the song, me go down a river, me go down a river. Thank you, choir. Me looking at the water. And the way the music's so nice, and the way the music's so sweet, people come from all around to see how what I do it. Oh, it's you, Anansi. Then it's what that you have around your belly. Is a cup? Is a salsa? Is a ears ring? Is a drum? Here, Anansi, all of the above. And Great Spirit has said, I am to distribute what's in it so you could save the world. Here once, Maddie. Then Anansi, why you tie it onto your belly? Why you never carry it on your back? Anansi come down out of the tree, and him tie on the calabash, pan him back. And him go back up the tree. Me go down a river. Well, next Maddie said, then Anansi, why you never put it on your shoulder? Anansi come down. No, Anansi, not the left shoulder, the right shoulder. And everybody who never know what the calabash was for suddenly know how Anansi should have carried. Back of your knee, in the crooks of your elbow, under your neck. And Anansi got so confused. The calabash dropped and broke. And all the wisdom scattered away. And people astonished. Them don't know what to do. Them don't know what to say. When all of a sudden, a little man come out of a wilderness that nobody did notice. And him walk right up to where all of the wisdom spill out of the calabash. And him take up some and him taste it. Him say, this tastes like philosophy. Thank you, Anansi. My name is Plato. And him go back into the bushes. And him tell him friend Aristotle. And Aristotle come. And him take up some too. And then go back. And them tell some more friend. And a man who couldn't even count 1 to 3 come out and take up some and say, oh, this is mathematics. My name is Pythagoras. And him gone with him share. And I saw everybody I come, I take for them share. Till a little man who could have hardly walk, him have all kind of illness. He couldn't pick it up. Him had to bend down and lick up some. Him say, but this tastes like medicine. My name is Hippocrates, and everybody come from all over the world and take for them share of what Great Spirit gave to Anansi to give to his people to save the world. and everybody still stand up there and look like them don't know what it is for. So if you go down a river, you go down a river with your calabash. And you're looking at the water with the calabash. And if you see one big sin thing with the calabash. No bother draw back, no draw back, no draw back, no draw back with the calabash. You have to dip in the water with the calabash.
No, sir. Uno come have me an MC and I enjoy the thing, so it going show. Listen, Stephen, I can just see me and you in another story there. When people pick up in Calabash and say, Agave, where I say, my Calabash full of racial justice, human rights, dignity. I hope you identify with the story and understand what we are saying, right? So see what we need in a full Calabash, see what we can take from the thing and play our part in advancing the whole black race. That is the premise. Thank you so much, orator, storyteller extraordinaire. I was standing there saying, boy, this can nice, so but it nice. And I'm hoping that the worldwide audience can just feel the energy in the room. It is more than, we anticipated, but grateful. Thank you so much. Put your hands together. We're winding down the program, and we are pretty much at the end. Just want to say a big up to, I see the president of the Ghanaian Jamaica Association, Benji, in the house. Benji, welcome. I didn't see when you come in, and I just want to also say that, yeah, man, give him a big hand. Benji is always supporting the events, making the link from Ghana to Jamaica, and we have to respect that and big that up. We'll also have iNation on the outside. When you finish, food for thought outside iNation, just want me to say that you can reach him on the social medias at iNation Books and Necessities. And if you want to give him a call, 466-36. Let's start again. 876-466-3662. That's 876-466-3662. That's why I became a lawyer, because this number thing never really work with me. Yes, but give him a call. iNation is always, again, supporting the events and providing us with books that we need as a people. Yeah, man. So we're winding down, and here, we can't have a culture event without hearing from our Minister of Culture. You don't really think that would have gone? No, sir. The hard-working Minister of Culture, and of course, as you know, they're the main producers, the executive producer, I heard someone said earlier, and also a partner in this along with the UNIA, ACL, the Liberty Hall, which we stand, and of course, Children of the Matter for Recognition, Justice, and Development Project. So let me just introduce our minister, who really needs no introduction, but yeah, respect due. So the Honorable Olivia Grange has served as Member of Parliament for the constituency of Central St. Catherine since 1997, and is currently the longest serving woman MP in the House of Representatives. She was appointed Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport in March 2016, and of course, with a wide portfolio, include arts, culture, creative industries, entertainment, media arts, gender affairs, heritage, publication, legal deposit, national commemorative events, all of the things. The big grand gala thing that you see the other day, HM. The Vigilat Civil, HM. Sometimes we ask how she gets the energy, but that's what happens when you have passion for the work. And we applaud her today I don't want to take away from her message because, of course, you know, she had to provide her own views about the day and what it means to her and the work that she has done. Of course, I need to point out that Minister also served as chair of the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, again, making her global contribution to the work. So we have persons, as I say, notice, we have our minister engaged in UNESCO, the international arm of culture. We have our Professor Vereen Shepherd doing the racial aspect of the work. We have our Epsibar as a descendant doing the UN Permanent Forum. The future look really bright. The future look really bright for us. So without further ado, let's hear from our Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, the Honorable Olivia Grange.
This United Nations declared International Day for People of African Descent is a very special day to the people of Jamaica and is indeed a pivotal moment in history, which presents an opportunity for us to recognize each other and our contribution to the world. I see this day as a coming together of our struggles, strengths, and resilience as a people, and a chance to know, to celebrate, and to see each other and see ourselves beyond the viewpoint of struggle, resistance, and oppression. As we take into consideration the relevance that the celebrations of international days have on the values that society share, we, the people of Jamaica, personally identify with the very essence of this day, because of the significant influence the work of our first national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Messiah Garvey, had on the declaration of this day. We applaud his leadership at the first International Convention of the Negro Peoples of the World in Harlem, New York in 1920, where, as a result of the discussions led by Marcus Garvey, the Declaration of the Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World was promulgated. From the declaration of the International Decade for People of African Descent, Jamaica as a country, and my ministry in particular, have been promoting and advancing the causes of the people of African descent through the three pillars of the decade: recognition, justice, and development in all our programs and activities. This International Day represents another significant occasion for us to pause and commemorate all our outstanding people of African descent who have held it down for us here at home and also put Jamaica on the map. Marcus Garvey, Bob Marley, Usain Bolt, Miss Lou, Tony and Sing Miss World, among others, they have all contributed and shared in the mission of realizing the full potential of our people. To this end, I remain hopeful because of the giftedness of the Jamaican people, their warmth and creativity, their dynamism and indomitable spirit that have resulted in excellence in all sectors. It is by tapping into the gifts and awakening the spirit of the Jamaican people that we will, by God's grace, regroup, re-engineer, and reopen to a brighter future with culture, gender, entertainment, and sport. We will reignite a nation for greatness.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, brothers and sisters. Today, even though we're coming down to the end, it is an awesome day. I want to thank our Minister of Culture for taking the time to make sure that her voice is included in these proceedings, and for the closing. And yes, we're at the closing performance. Yeah, man, we see the flags and the bandana, and so I think we're ready for the Tivoli Dance Troupe. Put your hands together and welcome this long-standing group.
Victory in Jesus. Amen. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Hold up on your victory. I say the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. Hold up on your victory. Hold up on your victory. Hold up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Hold up on your victory. I know the Lord, He's my shepherd. I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. I say the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. Hold up on your victory. Hold up on your victory. Hold up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Hold up on your victory. I know the Lord, He's my shepherd. I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. Hold up on your victory. Hold up on your victory. Hold up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Hold up on your victory. Hold up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Hold up on your victory. Oh, say the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. Hold up on your victory. Hold up on your victory. Hold up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Hold up on your victory.
Yes. So wait, them finish already? I was just getting to the point where I'm saying, what we call it, can we include everything in a money pull-up? Thank you so much, Tivoli Dance Troupe, our youngsters. Listen, you steal the show today. Put your hands together for Tivoli Dance Troupe, yes. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, and for viewing on the World Wide Web. I've been following the feed on Facebook and the production. It's awesome. And I can tell you it's a glorious day. Thank you so much for the audience who turned out here today at Liberty Hall for us to celebrate this day, and also to persons on the social medias. I see you, I see the comments going up. I'm very pleased with today. You can see it in my face. Gonna even be a little bit pleaser when we get to the food part. So I'm not gonna keep you much longer, just to say thank you so much for the production team, the hard work of CPTC, JCDC. Put your hands together for them, man. Without them, we wouldn't even be having the streaming. CPTC has been a major player in the day, in the broadcast. Just big up the other agencies, the GIS, as of course, the cultural performances through the JCDC and all the entities. Enough respect to the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Yes, you know, when you have your director of culture in the audience, you know, you have to be on your P's and Q's. Yes, of course, PBCJ. How we can forget PBCJ? You want them to just say, you know what, streaming done. So big up, of course, to the hardworking team at PBCJ. Of course, here at Liberty Hall, we want to say thanks for the facilities, and of course, Anya and the work that she has been doing as executive director. Mr. Stephen Golding, executive producer, and all the things them from the UNIA. I mean, great partner, great partner. Big up to the performers, the young ones. Of course, the first parliamentarian by a couple of years, she prime minister, you know, is still there. And a couple of years, you hear that Tish is recording some tune and international. So, of course, put your hands together for them, the youngsters. Mr. Omal Wright, you know, blessings, big up, big up, big up. We're doing this because part of our culture, you know, big up who forget, big up. Mrs. Hannah, thank you so much for being a part of this celebration. We needed a few people who we know say are the bedrock of this country, and you were absolutely one of those persons that we wanted to be a part of this. And of course, Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks, those were the special performances of the day that we wanted to bring to you. You know, you get into trouble, you start to call name, of course, but you know, I've been doing well, I think, I'm told, yes. I have some board members of the new organization partner, Children of the Ma'afo. We have attorney at law, Shanae Johnson. Want to say the work behind the scenes of me sending stuff to them. And of course, the person who is in charge of gender and those things in my organization, Miss Ruth Howard. She's actually a specialist in gender. Yes, I try to make sure I use persons that they're here to support, and all the others. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Enjoy the refreshment on the outside. Delicacies from Nigeria, and all courtesy of the Nigeria High Commission and all our partners. Thank you so much for joining us for this International Day for People of African Descent. Celebration from Jamaica to the world. Do the Usain Bolt sign for me? Woo! Right, so we're going to be closing out with the UNIA anthem. Yes, so please stand for that anthem.
Ethiopia, thou land of our fathers, thou land where the gods love to be, a storm cloud at night suddenly gathers, all armies come rushing to thee. We must in the fight be victorious, when swords are thrust outward to gleam. For us will the victory be glorious, when led by the red, black and green. Advance, advance to victory, let Africa be free. Advance to meet the foe, advance to meet the foe, with the might hath need. The wisdom thou gave to thy sages when Israel was sorely in need. Thy voice to the dim past has spoken. Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hand. By thee shall all fetters be broken, and heaven bless our dear motherland. Advance, advance to freedom.